At the crossroads of continents and time, there lies a land not merely defined by its borders, but by its enigmas: Mexico. Few places on Earth contain such a kaleidoscope of contrasts. Where the ruins of lost empires sit quietly beneath the thrum of modern metropolises. One moment you're tracing the footprints of the Maya across limestone temples. The next, you're swept into a city of 22 million souls, pulsing with urgency. History in Mexico doesn't lie behind glass. It rises from the ground, etched into stone, whispered in markets, sung in alleyways. Beneath its chaotic surface hums an ancient rhythm, steady and unbroken, as if the land itself remembers every conquest, every prayer, every revolution. The myths of Quetzalcoatl and the calendars of the Maya were not tales for the past. They were warnings, codes, maps written in stars and blood. And then came ships from across the Atlantic, bearing crosses, steel, and hunger for gold, forever transforming what was, yet never fully silencing it. In the collision of two worlds, something strange and singular emerged. A new identity, born not from erasure, but from adaptation and resistance. Every cathedral here casts a shadow on an older altar. Every saint's name is layered over a forgotten god. Independence in 1821 did not untangle the past. It only added new voices to a story already centuries in the making. From emperors to revolutionaries, from generals to poets, Mexico has always been shaped by those willing to fight for its soul. Even today, it wears its scars like medals, proof that it has endured, transformed, and never stopped evolving. Geography here is no backdrop. It commands the narrative: deserts that whisper secrets, jungles that conceal civilizations, mountains that defy time. Volcanoes smolder above cities as if guarding forgotten knowledge beneath their ash and silence. Along its coastlines, warm winds carry the scent of salt and history, where once galleons sailed, and now tourists drift unknowingly over sunken pasts. And deep inland, in the creases of highlands and canyons, ancient rituals persist, not in museums. Mexico speaks many languages. Over 60 indigenous tongues still resonate in the hills, resisting disappearance. Spanish may dominate the textbooks, but it shares space with Nahuatl prayers, Zapotec chants, and Mayan lullabies. In food, Mexico reveals its genius not in extravagance, but in depth. Mole as rich as myth, corn as sacred as scripture. To eat here is to time travel. Every bite a blend of empires, migrations, and memories. Music follows suit, not just mariachi, but the aching ballads of rancheras, the ancestral pulse of drums in the jungle night. Through every art form, the country dances between joy and mourning, celebration and survival. But beauty doesn't blind. Mexico acknowledges its wounds, poverty etched into the countryside, corruption that stains the system, violence that sometimes overshadows hope. And still, the spirit of its people shines with an almost defiant warmth, unshaken by the weight of hardship. Nowhere is this resilience more profound than during Dia de los Muertos, when the veil thins and grief turns into a festival of remembrance. Here, death is not feared, it is fed, serenaded, adorned, and invited to sit at the table. Beneath the marigolds and sugar skulls lies something deeper. A philosophy that understands endings not as loss, but as transformation. Perhaps that is the true essence of Mexico, not a place frozen in time, but a land forever shifting, folding memory into motion. The deeper you wander, the more the lines blur between life and death, ancient and modern, chaos and order. And just when you believe you've seen it all, the land reveals another layer, another legend, another reason to keep searching. Chichen Itza. Deep in the Yucatan Peninsula, beneath layers of jungle and myth, lies a city whose stones still whisper secrets. Chichen Itza. Early temples rose in devotion to the rain god Chaak, each wall adorned with masks and geometric spells. Around Stolok Cenote, modest structures emerged, not monumental, but filled with symbolic intensity. Time passed, but the city did not fade. It transformed, absorbing new arrivals and unexpected gods. Kukulkan became the central figure in this new chapter, part god, part memory, part conqueror. His likeness spread across temples and staircases, each carving a declaration of divine authority. Chichen Itza expanded beyond its origins, growing into a metropolis unlike any before it. The Great Esplanade opened like a ceremonial stage, designed for gods to descend and mortals to observe. The Pyramid of Kukulkan stood at the center, its geometry aligned with equinoxes and celestial rhythms. At the Temple of the Warriors, Columns once held up roofs now lost, casting long shadows like silent guards. The ball court, vast and acoustically perfect, became an arena where fate was played, not just sport. Rituals performed there echoed cosmic battles, sun chasing moon, order confronting chaos. Not all who entered left as victors. Some departed honored, sacrificed beneath the stars. Further north, the sacred cenote swallowed gold, jade, and lives, gifts to the gods of the underworld. Pilgrims arrived from distant lands, drawn by stories of prophecy and divine presence. Conflicts soon followed, as rival cities questioned Chichen Itza's dominance. The League of Mayapan, formed in hope, fractured in ambition, and turned allies into enemies. Xmal and Mayapan rose as challengers, forcing the Itza into retreat and reshaping the region's fate. Though rulers abandoned the city, its sanctity remained untouched by ruin. Centuries later, conquistadors stumbled upon crumbling temples and imagined lost kingdoms beneath the vines. Francisco de Montejo even considered crowning Chichen Itza as the capital of a new empire. Explorers in the 19th century recorded its majesty, inspiring scholars and seekers across continents. Modern archaeologists continue to uncover glyphs, fragments, and alignments that defy explanation. El Caracol, the round observatory, still points skyward, tracking the same stars once watched by Maya priests. Chichen Itza was never merely a city, it was a living calendar, a library of stone, a map of the heavens. Even now, when light touches the pyramid's edge and a serpent of shadow descends, the past comes alive. Sumidero Canyon, Chiapas. Hidden in the heart of Chiapas, carved by time and water, Sumidero Canyon rises like a colossal scar in the earth. Towering limestone cliffs, some over 1,000 meters high, surround the Grijalva River like ancient guardians. From above, the canyon resembles a wound opened by the gods, a place where stone was split by the fury of nature. But to the Maya, this wasn't just geology, it was a place of reverence, fear, and sacrifice. Legends say warriors once leapt from these heights rather than surrender to Spanish conquest. The wind still carries whispers of their cries, echoing off canyon walls like forgotten prayers. Every twist in the river tells a different story of rebellion, survival, or surrender. When the morning mist clings to the cliffs, the canyon seems to vanish into myth. Shadows shift across the rock face, revealing shapes that resemble faces, serpents, and forgotten gods. The Grijalva, now calm, was once a force that tore mountains apart and left a path for mystery to settle in. Along its banks, crocodiles sunbathe without fear, ancient and unchanging. Spider monkeys swing above the treetops, never touching the ground, as if sensing something sacred below. Vultures circle the highest ledges, tracing invisible paths between worlds. Beneath the cliffs, caves open like mouths, holding secrets sculpted drop by drop over millennia. During the rainy season, waterfalls spill from the canyon rim, vanishing into the depths like liquid smoke. One of them, known as the Christmas Tree Waterfall, forms a bizarre vertical terrace, dripping with moss and wonder. Green walls glisten under sunlight, turning rock into illusion and water into living lace. Nature here defies logic. Plants cling to sheer stone. Life clings to silence. Though the canyon stretches only 13 kilometers, it contains a universe of shapes, sounds, and silences. At times, the water narrows, the cliffs close in, and the river becomes a winding hallway between the past and the eternal. Boats now glide through it gently, but each engine hum is swallowed by the vastness of stone. Tourists arrive by the hundreds, yet the canyon remains untouched in spirit, unbothered by the noise of curiosity. Above the rim, lookouts offer panoramic views, but the true magic waits far below. From the depths, sky becomes a ribbon, distant and unreachable, framed by cliffs like cathedral walls. This place is a sanctuary not built by humans, but by water, pressure, and patience. Centuries before Chiapa de Corzo or Tuxtla Gutierrez were founded, this canyon had already written its story in stone. Archaeological traces nearby suggest ancient people visited not to conquer, but to contemplate. In their cosmology, canyons like this were pathways to the underworld, entrances to the realm of spirits. The very shape of Sumidero, steep, narrow, enclosed, creates a natural echo chamber for reflection, ritual, and awe. Even today, ceremonies are held nearby to honor the river, the land, and the unseen forces that move between them. Birds return here season after season, nesting in cliffs that offer no foothold but infinite freedom. Chiapas. In a secluded corner of Valle de Bravo, water descends like silk unraveling from the sky. They named it Velo de Novia, the bride's veil, not for its size, but for its ethereal elegance. The cascade doesn't crash, it caresses, trailing over the cliffside in strands of white lace. Moss-covered stones glisten beneath its path, cooled by a never-ending whisper of mist. When sunlight finds the spray, tiny prisms flicker and vanish before you can name their colors. Trees stand quietly nearby, as if guarding a sacred ceremony that never ends. The water seems to float rather than fall, suspended between weightlessness and gravity. Each drop writes its own story on the rock face, carving softness into stone with infinite patience. The forest exhales slowly here, and the veil breathes with it. Beneath the sound lies stillness, not silence, but a hush that calms the mind into wonder. Some believe the falls were formed from love left unfinished, woven into the earth by grief. Others hear laughter in the current, as if nature herself dressed up just for the joy of it. Cancun, Quintana Roo. At the edge of the Yucatan Peninsula, where turquoise meets eternity, rises a city born from both myth and modern ambition, Cancun. Its beaches shimmer like polished glass, stretched beneath skies that never seem to end. But beneath the resort glamour lies a land older than memory, where the Mayan world still hums beneath the sand. This was once the realm of seafarers, astronomers, and sky watchers who read time in the movement of stars. Before hotels claimed the shoreline, mangroves ruled the coast, and jaguars prowled under moonlight. The name Cancun means nest of serpents, a reference not to danger, but to ancient power. Serpents, in Mayan belief, were gateways between worlds, between lives, between gods. Today, modern roads wind through what was once sacred territory, connecting nightclubs to cenotes, marinas to temples. By day, Cancun dazzles with sunlight and surf. By night, it transforms into a city of pulse and neon. Tourists come for the water, but often leave haunted by something deeper, a sense that the land itself is watching. Just beyond the hotels lies El Rey, an archaeological site where iguanas now guard broken pyramids. Time collapses here. One moment you're in a cabana, the next among ruins whispering stories in a language older than Spanish. The Caribbean Sea kisses Cancun's shore with deceptive softness. Its color hides shipwrecks, coral palaces, and silent altars. Divers descend into an underwater museum where human sculptures gather algae and meaning over time. Above water, wind carries salt and secrets across the zona hotelera, that narrow strip separating lagoon from sea. To the west, the Chupte Lagoon breathes quietly, a mirror for flamingos, crocodiles, and forgotten sunsets. The city itself is young, planned, mapped, and funded in the 1970s as a tourism dream. But the land beneath is ancient, soaked in centuries of rain, ritual, and revolution. Cenotes dot the region like portals, freshwater sinkholes once used for offerings, now for wonder. Swimming in them feels like floating in time, surrounded by limestone, stillness, and liquid silence. Nearby, Isla Mujeres calls across the channel, once a sanctuary for the goddess Ixchel, now a haven for seekers of calm. The Mayans once watched the rising sun from this coast, aligning shrines with equinoxes and eclipses. That connection to the cosmos still lingers, felt in the hush before dawn, in the way the horizon holds your gaze. Luxury thrives here, but so does legacy. Even the most lavish resorts sit on ground that remembers. Markets bustle downtown, where local hands craft souvenirs from bone, shell, and flame. Spices drift through the air, achiote, chili, lime, each scent a story passed through generations. Far from the dance floors, fishermen mend nets by hand, their eyes fixed on tides older than Cancun itself. The contrast is startling. Steel towers beside stone ruins, Mayan murals next to luxury spas. Yet somehow it all blends as if past and present struck a silent truce along the shore. Cancun isn't just a destination, it's a collision of timelines, wrapped in sea breeze and sunlight. Every wave seems to erase footprints, but never the memory of what stood here before. Visitors may come for escape, but then often find confrontation between what is seen and what is sensed. Stand still long enough, and you begin to hear it, a rhythm beneath the music, a pulse within the sand. This is not just a city of pleasure, it is a threshold. And every journey to Cancun begins at the surface, but ends far deeper than expected. Tulum, Quintana Roo. Perched above turquoise waters, the ruins of Tulum gaze endlessly across the Caribbean, as if waiting for something or someone to return. This was once a walled city, a final frontier of the Maya world, where merchants, priests, and astronomers watched the ocean like a sacred mirror. El Castillo, the main temple, still rises defiantly against the wind, its steps weathered but proud. Legends suggest it was a lighthouse for canoes navigating sacred trade routes, guided not by fire, but by the stars. Stone pathways lead through crumbling halls where echoes linger, soft as footsteps from another time. At dawn, shadows dance across carved glyphs, their meanings partly lost, partly protected. The sea below was not just transport, it was a divine border, separating this world from others unseen. Rituals were performed here, facing the endless blue, in a silence now broken only by waves. Some say the breeze through the ruins carries messages, but only those who listen with patience understand them. Among the temples stands the Temple of the Descending God, a figure upside down, a mystery that has defied explanation for centuries. Even the iguanas that lounge on the warm stones seem to know they walk among the remnants of power. Time wears down the walls, but not the presence. Something here still holds, still watches, still waits. Beyond the ruin, a very different Tulum unfolds, vibrant, artistic, and alive with movement. Jungle-fringed roads lead to open-air cafes where travelers sip matcha beside dream catchers and minimalist design. Yoga domes rise beside boutique hotels, merging rustic aesthetics with high-end comfort. The town pulses gently, a rhythm shaped by surfboards, bicycles, and acoustic guitars. In eco-chic beach clubs, hammocks sway under palm trees as DJs blend lo-fi beats into the sound of the sea. Sustainability is a mantra here: solar lights, bamboo architecture, and menus designed around earth and ocean. Street murals bloom across concrete walls, celebrating Mayan ancestry, feminism, jaguars, and the cosmos. Artisans sell jewelry made of seeds, shells, and silver, each piece bearing both craft and soul. Tulum's cenotes, natural sinkholes, now welcome snorkelers and free divers, though they once held offerings to puns. Some are open like craters of light, others are hidden, enclosed in darkness that humbles the bold. In places like Gran Cenote or Dos Ojos, clarity runs so deep it feels like swimming inside glass. Tulum's beaches stretch out in curves of white sand, where the sea changes color with every passing hour. By sunset, bonfires are lit and mezcal is poured, rituals not sacred, but no less beautiful. Here, the ancient and the modern don't collide. They flow past each other like parallel tides. Travelers arrive chasing stillness, seeking inspiration, or escaping noise they left behind. No one leaves exactly as they came. Something here invites change, softly, without permission. Tulum is no longer just a ruin on a cliff. It has become a canvas, layered with memory, desire, and reinvention. And while the future builds itself in bamboo and sand, the past remains nearby, carved in stone, silent but watching. Bacalar, Quintana Roo. Somewhere between jungle and sea lies a place of impossible color. Bacalar, the lagoon of 7 shades of blue. From the air, the water looks like a painting left unfinished by the gods, each hue more vivid than the last. But beneath this beauty sleeps a mystery. The lagoon was sacred long before it became a postcard. The Maya called it Sian Ka'an Bacalar, the birth of heaven near the reeds. Their rituals once echoed across these shores, offered to the spirits believed to dwell within the deep. Even now, the water seems too still, too perfect, like a mirror laid down by time itself. Ancient stromatolites line the shallows, rock-like formations built not by stone, but by living bacteria older than the dinosaurs. These living fossils breathe oxygen into the lagoon, a slow and silent heartbeat beneath the surface. At sunrise, the mist hovers like memory, veiling the lagoon in soft light and reverent quiet. Fishermen once whispered of underwater spirits, beings who shape the color of the water and the fate of those who sailed it. Along the banks, Fort San Felipe stands watch, its cannons pointed toward a past filled with pirates and invasions. Inside its stone walls, stories linger of battles fought not only for gold, but for control of paradise. Today, Bacalar welcomes travelers with hammocks, fresh coconut water, and the gentle lapping of calm tides. Sailboats glide across the lagoon, their shadows drifting over a palette of sapphire, turquoise, and jade. Kayaks skim past mangroves and cenotes, exploring watery corners untouched by motors or noise. In eco-lodges nestled beneath the trees, mornings begin with birdsong and the scent of lime blossoms. Unlike Cancun or Playa del Carmen, Bacalar moves slowly. Time stretches here, not to be rushed. Street cafes offer tamarind juice and slow-cooked cochinita pibil, served beneath murals painted in sun-faded colors. Locals speak softly, as if trying not to disturb the lagoon's fragile stillness. Children dive from wooden piers, their laughter rising through the warm air like birds in flight. At the Canal de los Piratas, travelers float in shallow, milky waters once stained with blood and ambition. Salt and minerals from the lagoon soften the skin, though their real power lies in how they slow the soul. Artists arrive seeking clarity. Writers come to listen rather than speak. Some say Bacalar changes you, not loudly, but with the steady pull of still water and cloudless sky. When the sun sets, the lagoon dims to silver, and silhouettes become the only truth. The wind carries stories, some modern, others ancient, none complete. Here, history is not behind glass. It lingers in the air, mixed with the scent of rain and stone. The lagoon may shimmer like a gem, but it holds a gravity that pulls thoughts inward. Bacalar is not just a place to visit, it is a place to remember, even if you don't yet know why. And long after you leave, as a part of you stays somewhere between the silence, the shimmer, and the sky. Las Coloradas. At the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula, where ocean meets salt and salt meets sun, the waters turn pink. Las Coloradas is not a mirage, though it feels like one, a landscape painted by imagination and alchemy. The lake glows with hues of rose and fuchsia, shimmering like silk beneath a cloudless sky. But this color is no trick of the light. It's the work of tiny microorganisms, living silently in hypersaline pools. As the salt concentration rises, red algae and brine shrimp bloom, tinting the waters in tones rarely seen in nature. Flamingos gather here not for beauty, but for food. The pigment that colors the water also colors their feathers. The air smells faintly of minerals and ocean wind, an aroma both sharp and strangely soothing. Tourists arrive with cameras, but often fall silent, overwhelmed by the unreal stillness of pink meeting sky. The pink lakes reflect more than sunlight. They reflect wonder. Once a secret known only to salt workers, Las Coloradas has become a canvas for curiosity seekers. The salt flats stretch beyond the lakes, mountains of white crystals piled like snow beneath the tropical sun. These are industrial zones, yet strangely poetic, shaped by wind and time into geometric perfection. Local guides explain the process, how seawater evaporates in stages, leaving behind both color and crystal. Narrow paths wind between pink pools and salt mounds, leading visitors for hours through a surreal, alien world. Birds circle overhead, their wings casting fleeting shadows across pink ripples. The silence is profound, broken only by wind, water, and the crunch of salt beneath your feet. Some travelers claim the place feels sacred, though no temple stands here, only water and light. Others describe it as otherworldly, as if Earth had borrowed a palette from Mars or Venus. Las Coloradas doesn't ask questions, but it leaves you with many. And when you leave, part of the pink lingers, not on your skin, but somewhere quieter, deeper. Mexico City. Beneath the concrete veins of one of the world's largest cities, the ghost of Tenochtitlan still breathes. Mexico City rose from the ashes of an empire, built atop the sacred center of the Aztec world. What was once a lake-ringed island is now a metropolis of steel, stone, and memory. In the heart of the city, the Templo Mayor peeks through modern streets, its ruins humming with ancient energy. Just steps away, the cathedral towers over the Zocalo, a monument to conquest and contradiction. Aztec temples lie buried beneath colonial cathedrals, history layered like volcanic stone. The city's foundation, once floating, now trembles with the weight of centuries. Even the streets seem to remember. They slope, shift, and crack, as if the earth resists forgetting. At night, shadows stretch long across the ruins, and the past begins to stir beneath neon light. Some say the spirits of warriors still wander here, silent between the footsteps of late commuters. But Mexico City is no relic. It pulses with color, chaos, and boundless creativity. Murals by Rivera and Orozco explode across government walls, turning stone into story. The Palacio de Bellas Artes gleams like a porcelain dream, its dome shimmering under the sun. Mariachi bands tune their instruments in Plaza Garibaldi, waiting for night to ignite their songs. In Coyoacan, Frida Kahlo's Blue House speaks in brushstrokes and pain, her life framed by rebellion. Artists and students spill into cafes, sketchbooks open beside coffee cups, and conversation. Books line the shelves of El Péndulo, where literature hangs in the air like incense. Food carts crowd every corner, offering tacos al pastor, steaming tamales, and midnight pozole. Spice, heat, and sweetness weave through the city like its own kind of weather. Chapultepec Park unfolds like a green lung, ancient trees rising beside modern art. Museums bloom across neighborhoods, some elegant, others eccentric, all unapologetically curious. In the National Museum of Anthropology, gods and jaguars gaze out from stone masks, frozen mid-roar. The Aztec sunstone glows beneath dim lights, its face both compass and riddle. Markets beat like open hearts. La Merced, Jamaica, Sonora, each bursting with sound, scent, and soul. Vendors call out, voices blending into the orchestra of traffic, pigeons, and distant accordions. Mexico City dances between worlds, past and present, sacred and profane, dream and grit. Skyscrapers reach for the clouds while the ground below holds bones, canals, and obsidian blades. In Xochimilco, gondola-like trajineras glide through ancient waters, their passengers laughing over micheladas and mariachis. Flowers float beside plastic cups, memory beside celebration. Earthquakes shake the valley, but the city rebuilds, not once, but always. Youth gather on rooftops and plazas, painting futures with graffiti and hope. In subway tunnels, musicians serenade strangers. In alleyways, murals reclaim forgotten walls. Each barrio tells its own story, Roma with its poets, Condesa with its Art Deco whispers, Tepito with its toughness. Even the air feels layered, diesel, tortillas, jacaranda blossoms in spring. On Sundays, Reforma closes to cars, and cyclists flood the avenue like a living river. The city never truly sleeps. It hums, it shifts, it dreams aloud. Somewhere, always, a volcano smokes in the distance, a reminder that creation and destruction are twins. For every ruin, there's a rooftop garden. For every scar, a street filled with song. Mexico City is not easily defined. It must be felt, walked, tasted, remembered. And once it enters you, it never truly lets you go. Guanajuato City. Hidden in the heart of the mountains, Guanajuato unfolds like a labyrinth carved by time and ambition. Beneath its cobbled streets lies a secret world, an entire network of tunnels where history whispers through stone. These underground arteries, once rivers diverted to prevent floods, now carry cars, echoes, and the breath of the past. Above ground, colors explode. Facades in sunflower yellow, cobalt blue, and crimson red stack upon one another like a painter's dream. The city climbs the hills in tangled spirals, its rooftops clinging like ivy to stone. From the Pipila Monument, the whole city resembles a tilted mosaic, chaotic, charming, and utterly alive. Guanajuato was once the silver heart of New Spain, its mines spilling wealth that funded empires. At night, the city transforms, shadows pool beneath iron balconies, and lanterns light narrow alleys with a soft glow. Callejón del Beso, the Alley of the Kiss, tells a tragic love story carved into its inches-wide passage. Lovers lean across balconies just inches apart, enacting a ritual passed down through legend and longing. But no tale in Guanajuato is stranger than that of its mummies. Every curve in the city seems to hide a secret, a masked violinist, a hidden courtyard, and a memory. Students from the university spill into cafes and plazas, their laughter bouncing between colonial columns. Guanajuato is a city of stories, and its people never tire of telling them. Street performers act out Cervantes in open-air stages during the International Cervantino Festival. Music floats from balconies, from guitars, from fountains that seem to hum when no one's watching. On weekend evenings, callejoneadas, the musical street tours, wind through alleyways, led by singers in velvet cloaks. Participants join in, lanterns in hand, voices rising into the night air like spells. Markets bustle with candy skulls, silver filigree, embroidered cloth, and tamales wrapped like secrets. The smell of mole and pan dulce drifts from family kitchens, mingling with distant church bells. Children run across plazas chasing pigeons, while elders sip café de olla and watch the sun trace the domes. Every wall in Guanajuato bears color and character. Nothing is left blank or forgotten. Time flows differently here. Not fast, not slow, but layered. Each plaza is a stage, each doorway a portal, each stairwell a chapter in a book never quite finished. Churches rise without warning, their bell towers slicing through sky-like questions. Between the hills, the wind weaves through the alleys, carrying songs you can't name but won't forget. As night deepens, the silence returns, but not emptiness, only the hush of a place that has learned to listen. This isn't a city you visit, it's one you gradually absorb, stair by stair, tunnel by tunnel. Guanajuato doesn't reveal itself all at once. It waits, lures, and slowly teaches you how to see. In the morning light, the houses seem to rise out of the earth like dreams that never ended. Some cities show you the future. Guanajuato shows you how beautifully strange the past still is. And long after you leave, the alleys follow you in memory, in mood, and in music. Copper Canyon, Chihuahua. In northern Mexico, where mountains fracture the sky, lies a canyon deeper than the Grand Canyon, and older than maps dare admit. This is Copper Canyon, Barranca del Cobre, a labyrinth of gorges carved not by time alone, but by fire, water, and silence. Sunlight spills over its jagged cliffs like molten metal, illuminating stone walls stained green with copper and legend. The scale is overwhelming, 6 canyons braided together, stretching across a land where few dare settle. Mist clings to the rims at dawn, veiling the chasms in a silence that feels sacred. Some claim the rocks here sing when the wind passes just right, a sound like voices lost in stone. Beneath the cliffs, rivers twist through shadows, their currents whispering to roots, birds, and ghosts. In remote caves and ridgelines, the Raramuri people, those who run fast, have lived for centuries beyond roads and clocks. They move through the canyons like wind itself, graceful, hidden, and resilient. Their foot races span mountain trails that would leave most breathless before noon. The world rarely saw them until the train came. El Chepe, the legendary railway, roars across 650 kilometers of wilderness, threading copper and cloud. From the windows, the world unfolds like a fable. Waterfalls plunge, bridges sway, tunnels swallow light. Every turn reveals another impossibility, cliffs that rise like walls, valleys that vanish into blue. The track was carved through stone with pickaxes and stubborn hope, taking decades to complete. Divisadero, The train halts, not out of duty, but reverence. The view there is not a sight, but an encounter, a vertical infinity of rock, air, and breath. Tarahumara women sell woven baskets by the edge, their colors vivid against the stone stillness. Elsewhere, in small villages like Bahuichivo or Cerro Cahui, life flows slowly, tethered to the rhythms of land and sky. Adobe houses press into mountainsides, warmed by wood fires and tradition. Trails snake through pine forests, past cliffs and canyons, towards secrets that maps don't mark. At Basasiachik Falls, water free falls 246 meters into mist, vanishing before it reaches the earth. The canyon walls echo back the crash like ancient applause. Hawks ride thermals high above, scanning cliffs where no feet have walked in generations. Adventure seekers come to hang above the void on zip lines, cable cars, or narrow ledges no wider than fear. Some ride horseback down into the canyons, sleeping under stars older than cities. Others hike days without seeing another soul, except for the occasional goat, eagle, or barefoot child. And then sometimes you come upon a cave, and inside a family, a fire, a way of life untouched by urgency. The canyon doesn't resist time, it simply outlasts it. Stories travel here not by book, but by foot, by firelight, and by song. In the markets of Creole, you might find raramuri crafts, pottery, textiles, masks, silent testimonies to endurance. But the real heritage lives deeper, in footpaths, in language, in rituals passed without ceremony. It is not one canyon, but many, not one story, but a library of geology and spirit. Copper Canyon holds space for both motion and stillness, for the rail and the route. Clouds drift in and out of its folds like thoughts returning to old places. Even the sun seems to hesitate here, casting long shadows as if reluctant to leave. At dusk, the rock faces catch fire, glowing red before surrendering to cobalt dusk. The silence returns, not empty, but full, like the pause between heartbeats. Some say you don't travel through the canyon, it travels through you. And long after you've left, the cliffs remain, waiting for your next question. Hierve el Agua, Oaxaca. In the mountains of Oaxaca, stone appears to flow like water. Hierve el Agua, the water that boils, doesn't boil, and yet it steams with secrets. From a distance, it looks like a frozen waterfall, as if time caught a cascade mid-motion and never let go. The cliffs gleam with streaks of white, yellow, and orange minerals laid down over centuries of slow, steady dripping. These petrified falls weren't carved by rivers, but built drop by drop from springs rich in calcium and magnesium. The result is a sculpture of silence, shaped by water, not wind or will. Above the cliffs, natural infinity pools shimmer at the edge of the world. The water there is cool, not scalding, but infused with the minerals of ancient earth. When you step in, it feels like entering a breath held for 1,000 years. Clouds often drift low, brushing the canyon edges like ghosts searching for footholds. Beneath your feet, the stone is slick but alive, etched with strange textures, like skin turned to salt. Some say the Zapotecs once channeled this water for sacred purposes, healing, ritual, or prophecy. Old terraces remain, cut into the slopes, part of a forgotten irrigation system and memory. Here, the boundary between geology and mythology blurs. Playa del Carmen. As dawn breaks over the Caribbean, Playa del Carmen stirs with the rhythm of tides and footsteps. The sea glows like liquid turquoise, unfurling its colors one wave at a time. Pelicans dive with precision, slicing into the surf like arrows made of sky. The breeze carries the scent of salt and bougainvillea, soft and persistent. Along the shoreline, shadows stretch long and slow, waiting for the sun to fully rise. By midday, the beach hums, a canvas of sunbathers, umbrellas, and drifting music. Playa is a place of contrast, where stillness and celebration coexist without conflict. Every morning, fishermen set out early, their silhouettes etched against the backdrop of glowing sea. The coral reefs offshore teem with life, angelfish, rays, and whispers of ancient currents. Beneath the waves, silence blooms into color and motion. Quinta Avenida pulses like the city's heartbeat, colorful, crowded, in Endlessly Alive. Street performers play guitars beneath palm trees strung with lights. Cafes spill into the sidewalks, their menus offering everything from chilaquiles to croissants. Languages blend in the air: Spanish, English, French, laughter. Artists sell hand-woven bags and beaded bracelets, each telling stories through thread and color. At night, the avenue transforms, lights twinkle, and music spills out from every corner. Salsa rhythms merge with the sound of mojitos being poured. Rooftop bars offer views of stars mingling with cruise ships in the distance. On the sand, fire dancers spin embers into circles of heat and wonder. In the distance, Cozumel glows faintly like an island that dreams in its sleep. Playa del Carmen isn't loud, it's alive, with energy that builds quietly, then bursts. The town wraps itself around you like linen, soft, breathable, familiar. Hidden cenotes wait just beyond the city, where fresh water meets jungle in sacred stillness. The Mayans once revered these pools, seeing them as entrances to the underworld. Today, travelers swim in the same silence, touched by light that pierces stone and time. Jeep tours trace old trails through the Riviera Maya, kicking up dust and stories. In nearby ruins, moss grows over stone where kings once walked. The past is never far here. It lingers behind the leaves, just beyond the beach. Playa respects its origins while dancing forward, always shifting. Locals speak with calm warmth, offering directions, mezcal, or advice about the waves. Fruit stands gleam with papayas the color of sunrise, and mangoes that drip with sweetness. The hum of scooters mixes with the flutter of flags strung across alleyways. Even the rain here feels intentional, brief, cleansing, like applause from the sky. You can walk barefoot for hours, losing track of time but finding something else entirely. In Playa, days blur not from boredom, but from beauty. The sea does not rush, it invites slowly, until you're floating without realizing. Some places entertain, Playa del Carmen seduces. And when you leave, you carry grains of sand in your shoes and light in your chest. Because playa doesn't just stay in memory, it follows you, like the sound of the tide in your breath. Cabo San Lucas. At the far edge of the Baja Peninsula, where the land seems to hesitate before diving into the sea, Cabo San Lucas rises like a secret the Earth was reluctant to reveal. This is not just a place marked on a map, but a meeting point between two opposing forces, arid desert and boundless ocean, locked in eternal embrace. The moment you see El Arco, that towering arch of stone carved by waves and wind over centuries, you begin to understand why legends refuse to die here. Some say the sea here speaks, not in words, but in the way it crashes against the rocks, relentless, yet almost reverent. Looking out from the shoreline, the horizon shimmers not as a boundary, but as an invitation to wander further into mystery. The sun doesn't merely rise, it spills over the cliffs like molten gold, igniting the water and pulling the town awake in slow, golden waves. Beneath the surface, where the light fades into blue, another world unfolds, one of silent movements and ancient marine rituals. Cabo isn't loud, but it lingers, in the scent of salt air, in the pull of the tides, in the feeling that something unseen is always just around the bend. Sea lions lounge near the rocks like royalty presiding over a kingdom only they can name. The desert behind the city seems empty at first glance, but it breathes heat and memory and holds stories older than the roads that cross it. Every gust of wind carries with it a trace of the unknown, maybe a whisper from the past. Maybe just the ocean exhaling. When the whales arrive in winter, they don't sneak in quietly. They sing across the sea, shaking the very notion of silence. Travelers who come for the beach often find themselves staying for something they can't quite explain. The sea in Cabo doesn't soothe you, it humbles you, reminds you of your speed, your pulse, man. Even the light here behaves differently, skipping across the water as if it knows it's being watched. Beneath a sky so wide it feels unreal, every footprint on the sand seems part of a larger, unfinished story. Walking through the marina at sunrise, when the boats creak like tired giants waking up, you feel time slowing to a different rhythm. Fishers tie knots with the precision of ritual, like their ancestors once did, perhaps whispering the same prayers into the dawn. There are streets here that seem to remember who walked them yesterday, and corners where music always waits to be heard again. Rooftop bars blur into constellations at night where drink, wind, and music merge until the stars feel closer than the sea. Even the silence between songs on a plaza at dusk holds weight, as if history pauses there to catch its breath. The cliffs surrounding Cabo do not tower, they watch, patient and silent, like sentinels carved from forgotten myths. There are moments when the air smells of mezcal and seaweed, and you can't quite tell if it's morning or memory. Beneath your feet, the sand holds stories, some washed in last night, others buried 1,000 years ago. Every turn of the shoreline offers a new mood, joyful, brooding, meditative, never asking permission to change. The sky burns with color each evening, and you wonder how many sunsets it takes before one finally tells you the truth. In a quiet alley up Chiapas, you might find a mural no one notices anymore, but it watches everyone who walks past. Some locals will tell you stories of strange lights over the ocean, but they won't explain too much. They know wonder loses power when named. Cactus fields stretch toward the sea like arms reaching for a drink they know they'll never touch. In the desert wind, every grain of sand seems to remember movement, heat, and the echo of footfalls long vanished. You might arrive thinking Cabo is about parties and palm trees, but soon you realize it's about contrast, sun and shadow, stillness and surge. Each meal tastes richer because the land it comes from is so unforgiving, and yet so generous. Locals laugh easily, but their eyes carry the stillness of those who've watched the sea too long to fear it. You'll find art woven into daily life, paintings, textiles, and street corners that hold more soul than galleries. The stars here do not twinkle. They blaze as if echoing the fire that shaped this land. Every journey by boat becomes a pilgrimage, not just to see, but to feel. Wind in hair, salt on lips, silence behind the noise. You may leave Cabo with sunburnt skin, but it's your inner compass that changes course forever. Memory works differently here, faster, brighter, more permanent, like photographs left too long in the sun. People say goodbye in Cabo as if they'll return in their dreams, and perhaps they do. Because Cabo doesn't ask for your attention, it takes it gently and never gives it back. And as Mexico's final note lingers, sung through the desert winds, the ocean spray, and the firelight of forgotten gods, we feel its rhythm begin to fade, not into silence, but into something new. The land shifts beneath our feet. The pyramids give way to skyscrapers, the jungle hushed to highways humming with restless ambition. Across an invisible border, myth makes room for modernity. But the echoes of ancient drums still follow us north, threading through canyons, highways, and neon nights. Because even here in the United States, the story continues, written in migration, in memory, in voices that refuse to vanish. The spirit travels. The land remembers. And so we journey on, chasing the next truth hiding in the wind,